Hi, welcome back to the Sounds Like Freedom podcast. I'm your host, Deborah Henne. I'm here live with Erica Hoke, who is an author, publisher, infertility mentor, and empowerment coach. She's on a mission to empower infertility patients and disrupt the reproductive medical system. At 35, she was told she had less than a 1% chance of ever conceiving naturally after struggling for years with endometriosis, uterine fibroids, PCOS, thyroid cancer, factor V Leiden, and MTHFR. So she refused to participate in traditional IVF or IUI methods and instead committed to getting to the bottom of her infertility issues via diet, lifestyle changes, and traditional Chinese medicine. Today, this fierce mom of four shares her inspiring story as a means to give hope to those still seeking a family through alternate paths. Through her free support group, group coaching opportunities, and one-on-one sessions, Erica mentors others through their own journeys while teaching them how to collaborate with their doctors in order to systematically address their obstacles before pursuing invasive and expensive treatments. For those who battled and overcome infertility, Erica offers an opportunity to heal through book collaborations and the sharing of their stories, all in the hopes of helping others on their journeys. Welcome, Erica.
Thank you so much, Debbie.
Well, I'm excited to hear about your story. I've had a few friends who have struggled with infertility and the pain that goes with that, as you have these dreams of being a mom and raising children. Can you talk to us more about your journey?
Oh, well, I knew that it was not going to be easy. We kind of, we got married. We knew that the deck was kind of stacked against us. You listed my laundry list of diagnoses, and some of those happened before we got married and we started trying. So we expected some obstacles. But really, my plan B, like most people's plan B, if they think that they're going to have trouble, is IVF. And I never expected to be told that I was not a candidate for IVF. That was a big shock because that's everybody's backup plan. So I really felt like I felt that God had placed it in my heart to be a mother, that I was going to be a mother. And so I was just determined to get to the bottom of what was causing all these issues, what was causing all this disruption in my body, all these medical issues, and figure out what was in my control. Since I had already been told that the doctors couldn't help me, I wanted to see what I could actually do for myself and if it was possible to heal my body and get pregnant.
Awesome. So, can you talk to us a little bit about that emotional journey and how you found hope through that struggle?
Yeah, absolutely. It's super hard. Like you said, if you've had friends or family members that have gone through infertility, it's really difficult, if you haven't had friends, to quantify or express to people how damaging it is on a month-to-month ongoing basis. Like every single cycle feels like death because it's a loss. It's the loss of the opportunity to be pregnant, right? Or the loss of hope. So you're cycling through that hope, loss, death, grief cycle every month, whether you have a miscarriage or not. And then on top of it, then sometimes people do have miscarriages. And so in my process, after being told that I had less than a 1% chance that I would need donor eggs, I just kind of rejected that. I knew God had put it in my heart to be a mother. I took control of what I could control. And I really leaned on a verse that I still, help instill in my clients today. And that's the James 1:2 verse, which is, I had to just know that this was for me. The count all trials as joy, for they produce spiritual maturity, so that you're lacking nothing, that this was for me somehow. I couldn't see it at the time, but I had to believe that God was doing this for my benefit. And I've definitely seen how that has played out over the course of my health after pregnancies, my children's health, learning to advocate, the things that I learned along the way. Our life looks totally different because of my infertility journey. And that's God orchestrated, right? I would not have the skills to be the mother that I am. I would not have the skills to be the coach that I am had I not gone through it myself.
Amazing. So can you tell us a couple poignant or particular examples of how your mothering and how your coaching has changed as a result of going through this journey?
Well, in terms of mothering, learning to advocate for myself allowed me to advocate for my kids' needs medically in a way that I would not have been prepared to do otherwise. Just in terms of alternative choices for medicine, looking at root cause medicine, kind of just questioning the status quo. Not always in a bad way, because I certainly had my share of surgeries to get pregnant. I had, surgeries to remove fibroids. I had a very extensive excise surgery. So what I don't want your listeners to hear is that I'm anti-medicine. I'm absolutely not. It's collaborative, but I want people to understand that they have a responsibility. And so I took responsibility of my children's health in a different way. When I was noticing things, with, I'll just say it, it's kind of controversial, but we're a delayed vax family. And then we went from being delayed vaccination to no vaccination by the time my fourth child was born, because at 3 months he had a vaccine reaction. So it was a progression of learning, trusting the Holy Spirit's prompting, and not participating in that in the same way that everybody else does, and learning to advocate for my kids and what that looked like and that sort of thing. So.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly is a journey. I mean, I work in healthcare, but I do believe in finding that root cause and taking it to the Lord in prayer and finding and researching it for yourself. I always tell, I mean, I work in speech therapy, so we don't really go
Yeah.
into pharmacology so much in our treatments, but just being an advocate for yourself, for your family members, doing your research, doing your homework, and just kind of being able to stand on your own. Absolutely. Um, so can you talk to us a little bit about the work that you do now?
Yes, I work with women who have been in the infertility world for a little while. Typically, they have either gone through IVF or IUI and it's been unsuccessful. They have been told that they have unexplained infertility and they cannot come to the root cause on their own. And so I do a lot of kind of investigating and helping them advocate for themselves, look at their own medical records in terms of what they've been tested for. There's a great deal of tests that are overlooked. As a matter of fact, so much so that I created a little free guide of 10 overlooked tests that you got to make sure that you're tested for. That's available on my website. But those kind of things, just fall through the cracks. And it's not necessarily provider negligence. I'm not saying that, but it's kind of more of, well, I thought this doctor did it. Well, I thought this doctor did it. You're dealing with an OBGYN and then you're dealing with reproductive medicine. A lot of people just assume that their doctors, talk to each other, that they review medical records. People have an assumption that the medical records are reviewed thoroughly and things like that. And so I coach them through the fact that they actually need to do that. They need to look at their history for their thyroid levels and see if it's shifted, if it's in range. Is it in range over here and it's normal, and now it's in range and it's over here and it's normal, things like that. So I just walk them through the process and teach them how to advocate for themselves, questions to ask, and that sort of thing. Sorry, I think I might have gotten off track there, but that's how I help women. So I have a program that does that. That's a do-it-yourself program where it's videos and it's worksheets and things like that. And then I have group coaching and one-on-one coaching that I walk through those steps with my clients.
That's amazing. So let's say somebody's struggling with infertility. They've been trying for a while and they're like, you know what, it's not happening, but I want to live in the blessings of God. The blessings of God are life. And he's brought, he calls us to multiply. And I want that. What's the first step that you would suggest somebody do?
Well, the very first step, overall health is the goal and pregnancy is the outcome. So I would ask that person to be honest with themselves about areas of their life that they know that they can improve their health, right? And so we kind of start there for a jumping off point.
Okay. All right. So you mentioned a website. Can you tell us more about your website and what we can find on your website?
Yes, it's Erica with a C, so it's Erica, Hoke, like hope, but with a K, so HOKE, ericahoke.com. And I have a lot of resources on there. I have, as I mentioned, the 10-day or the 10 tests that you need to make sure that your doctor tested you for. I have a free 5-day jumpstart program that's on there in my Facebook support group. And I have some other free resources. Blog post, a little bit more about my story, and that sort of thing. So
great. Now, I did mention that you are an author and you have a book. Can you tell us the title of your book and what it's about?
Yes, it's actually a 4-book series. The first 2 are published, and those are Infertility Success, Stories of Help and Hope for Your Journey. And then Infertility Success, More Stories of Help and Hope for Your Journey. And the reason that I wrote these books, or that I led the project for these 2 books, is because women feel alone, right? If you're going through infertility, it's super lonely. Some women, literally, nobody knows. Their best friend doesn't know. It's them and their spouse. They don't tell anybody in their family. They don't even join groups on Facebook because they're terrified that somebody might see that, they're in an infertility group or something like that. So they're literally just suffering in silence, right? And so what we wanted to do as a group is give women hope, give women also resources. So each chapter, the first book is 20 authors, the second book is 10. Each chapter is that author's story, but from a what I wish I would have known then lens, right? So as you're reading that author's story, there's stopping points with tips in them. At this point, I wish I would have said no to this test, or a yes to this test, or please, test me for this thing and make sure that this is, right before we proceed. So there's tips peppered throughout each of the chapters as a cautionary tale. Stop, take a look at this, and from all different aspects of infertility. Some of it is donor eggs, some of it is IVF, some of it is natural conception. And then there's a free resource at the end of each chapter and a way to connect with the author, which I felt really strongly about, because we want these women, as they're reading this book, if they feel, a connection with that person, to be able to reach out to them and talk to them more, right? So that's the first 2 books. The third book also is something that I feel really strongly about, and that is the emotional fallout after infertility. We all know motherhood is hard in and of itself, right? But when you've gone through an infertility journey, so often you feel like, first of all, lots of type A personalities. And so often you feel like you can't complain that the baby is not sleeping, or that you're exhausted, or breastfeeding's not going well, or that you're doubting your choice to be a mother because you just spent maybe an inordinate amount of money, time, heartache, and now you're a mother, and oh my gosh, nobody warned me that I would feel this way, right? So it's about the emotional fallout after the infertility journey, just because those women so often still don't feel part of their peer group and able to just participate in normal mom commiserating, right? So we really wanted those women not to feel alone, not to normalize that, right? Through the infertility journey. That's something that needs talked about. And then the 4th book in the series, so book number 3 will be published this fall. And book number 4 will be released in the spring, and that is a faith journey through infertility. And again, this is something that women don't talk about. There's a lot of shame in questioning whether or not women feel a lot of shame in questioning whether or not God is punishing them for not being able to get pregnant. Is this some sort of punishment for past perceived actions, or is this, why is this happening to me? So it's really about, each chapter is about their faith walk with the Lord. Sometimes infertility really brings people closer to God. And we want to normalize that conversation as well, that those struggles are normal, and have some place for women to reflect on what we already know to be true, is that this is not a punishment. Everything is for us, right? For us, for our personal growth. And God is for us, right? So
I love that. So it's almost like these books are like an invitation into the community and into women's hearts. And because I've heard that from the friends who have talked to me about their struggle with infertility, that they do feel alone, and they feel very isolated, and they talk about the shame. And one even said, am I even a real woman if I can't have children? And that was just heartbreaking, so
yeah.
heartbreaking to hear. So I love that you are creating this community and this support for these women, that there is no shame. Often there, like you said, there can be medical explanations, medical fixes, a collaborative journey, advocating for yourself, for your health,
Mm-hmm.
and that God is always for us. Hold that hope
Yeah.
that God is with you through every step of this journey, and He will work it out for the good. I love it. I love
Yeah.
your message. I
Thank
love
you.
the work that you're doing. I think that the infertility is something that really needs to be talked about, and more awareness, so women don't feel alone and they don't like carry that shame with them. Um, I love it. Thank you so much for all your work that you're doing. Check
Thank
out our
you.
website, ericahoke.com. Check out our books, and join the community. Thank you for joining me today. Uh, don't forget to swipe, tap, or click over to deborahhenne.com. Follow me on social media at Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook at Deborah Henne Author. And let's not forget to tune into our thoughts. Make sure they sound like Jesus's, so they sound like freedom. Till next time.